Welcome back to TheGrio. Right now, Muslims around the world are preparing for the celebration that marks the end of Ramadan. In Afghanistan, a women's factory has been set up in Kabul, and more than 30 women are preparing cookies for the Eid ceremony. In Pakistan, a cobbler is making traditional Peshwari Chapal shoes in anticipation of the end of Eid al-Fitr. That festival not only marks the end of Ramadan, but it is observed during the first 3 days of Shawwal, which is the 10th month of the Islamic calendar. But if you're not Muslim, you might not know that the time of the celebrations differs based on the region. But across the board, it is a time for reflection and for celebration. Joining me now to explain all of it is Imam Idris Abdul-Dahar of Masjid Allah in Philadelphia, a Philadelphia legend, I might add. My brother, so good to see you. It's almost about that time. I'm looking at my watch. We real close. I'm just going to say Eid Mubarak to my brother. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on, Mark. Eid Mubarak to you too, my brother. And looking at my watch, it is almost about that time as well. Of course, we have to do our sighting and things like that, but we are looking forward to celebrating Eid al-Fitr here in Philadelphia for the next couple of days or so, the next 3 days or so.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of times when people think about Ramadan, particularly in the United States, and they don't understand, they'll say, Happy Ramadan, or Ramadan is celebrated. And Muslims have always said, no, Ramadan isn't the thing that is celebrated. It's the thing that is observed. Right. But Eid, that is the one, that's the moment where the celebration starts. Can you talk to people about what Eid al-Fitr is?
Yeah, so you hit the nail right on the head, which is that Eid al-Fitr, which literally means celebration or the feast of breaking the fast, or the celebration of breaking the fast. That's the celebration part. The Ramadan, or the fasting and the observance of Ramadan, really is the spiritual enlightenment. It's the struggle. It's the pressing yourself and trying to make yourself a better person throughout the month, which is always a difficult and trying thing. But we celebrate at the end of the month with Eid al-Fitr, which is a time in which we take time with family. We start off our day with prayer, of course, prayer and a short sermon, because people of faith always want to be reminded of some good things first, and then we take that day in celebration. I saw in your intro that different people from around the world are getting ready and doing their own traditional things, and we as Muslims here in America, we getting the fried fish ready. The bean pies ready, and all the things that we do, as African Americans, but also Muslims in America.
And as you mentioned, Eid is not just an opportunity to eat and to celebrate the fact that you can now eat during daytime. It's an opportunity to build and connect with family. So, for example, I know at your mosque, at Masjid Allah, there will be festivals. There'll be stuff outside for children. I mean, it really is a community celebration.
It's a big community celebration. Yeah, so we have a toy giveaway. We actually give away also to those in need too. So part of the obligation of that day is to make sure that we all give what's called zakat al-fitr, which is charity of that celebration day, which essentially allows for those of us that are not as fortunate to be able to show up that day with gifts themselves, with new clothes, and smell good, feel good, because it's our obligation to take care of those that may not be doing as well as we are. But yes, it's the toys, it's the live performances. We have a live performance by jazz bassist Jamaluddin Takuma is going to be that same day as well as a host of other things that we do: breakfast, lunch, and of course live performances. So that's just part of what we do for the Eid, and then we also have a carnival coming up too. So that's part of how we get down here at Masjid Allah, trying to celebrate the Eid here in Philadelphia.
One of the things that Islam shares with other monotheistic faiths in the United States, I'm thinking specifically about Christianity and Judaism, is the fast. Muslims aren't alone in the process of fasting. Can you talk about sort of the religious significance of fasting across the faiths?
Sure. So a Allah says in the Quran that He prescribed fasting to us, meaning Muslims, just as He did to those before us, so that we might learn God consciousness or also self restraint. So this is something that has been prescribed throughout the faiths. We had a program at Master of the Law with our neighbors, with the Perfecting Church and Congregation Rodef Shalom. And what we did was talked about Ramadan and the fast of Ramadan, but then also, asked everyone to share their respective fasts from their faiths, and what that fast is for, and how that fast is performed. So the fast of Ramadan in the particular faiths, Judaism and Christianity, they're all about, um, um, uh, you know, uh, making ourselves into more perfect servants of God, being aware, heightening our awareness of God. And then the byproduct of that is also heightening our awareness of our fellow man, our fellow sister, our fellow brother. Those with food insecurities and those are struggling to, have a meal every day. Certainly, it heightens my awareness because ultimately, it tunes you into the suffering of your fellow humans, and it makes you more responsive to their needs and more empathetic. So I just think that spiritually it tightens us up as far as being able to tap into our God consciousness. If we're holding back from food, holding back from drink, holding back from bad behavior, cursing people out, getting into arguments, getting into idle talk and situations, we hold back from all those things, and so that heightens our spiritual awareness, but also, heightens our awareness of those that are less fortunate.
Absolutely. I think also about what you talked about with regards to the fried fish with the bean pies. For black folk in the United States, there are very specific cultural practices and traditions that mark black Muslim life. And it's not just if you're in the Nation of Islam. Even if you identify as Sunni, if you identify as Ahmadiyya, if you identify as Shia, whatever the thing might be, there's still a cultural practice that black folks share with our food, our tradition, our history, our path. How important is it for black Muslims to sort of hold on to some of those same cultural things that black Christians and black Jews do?
Yeah, so Islam doesn't come to replace our culture, right? It only comes to enhance the things that we have in our culture, and perhaps curtail some things that are not good in our culture, right? But our foods and our traditions, as far as the things that we eat that bring us together, that makes black congregation, like the bean pie, like the fried fish, like the cookout. All those things are welcomed in Islam. You don't have to become Arab in order to be a good Muslim, right? So, there's no dichotomy between being a Muslim and being 100% black, right? Um, and so that's what we celebrate. That our culture is celebrated, and Allah tells us in the Quran again that He made us into nations and tribes, not to despise one another, but to get to know one another. So me being uniquely black, being American, and me bringing my culture to Islam is something that makes me unique, and also is something that people can identify with. But ultimately, right? Islam does not come to replace our culture. It's something that enhances our culture. It's something that's welcome by most Muslims, and it's
Around
something
the
that we
world. No,
celebrate.
that's absolutely true. And I know you about 10, 15 minutes away from celebrating some fried chicken, some fried fish, some bean pies, and a whole bunch
That's
of
right.
other stuff. I'll still be working, brother, but I want you to enjoy for me. Thank you for joining me, Imam Idris. Everybody stay right here, because still ahead on TheGrio, Muslims around the world are participating in a green Ramadan. I'll explain how. Plus, seeking peace in Sudan, how a fragile ceasefire could turn the tide in a deadly conflict that's already claimed hundreds of lives. Stay right here. We got much more coming up.